Good evening, everyone. It is 6:01 p.m. on this 5th of November. Time for the meeting of the Gallatin City Council to convene. I will begin by reminding anyone that may be watching or here for a short period of time, the polls are open for one more hour. And so make sure you get a chance to vote if you are planning to do that. So we've called the meeting to order. We will proceed with the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance. As we do at each meeting, we have a prayer and a pledge. And this evening, our city engineer, Nick Tuttle, is going to offer our prayer, and Vice Mayor Love is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would stand with me, please.
Please join me in prayer. Father, we come to you this evening, and we have a hefty agenda with many public hearings. And Lord, I pray that you would be in here in our midst as we have deliberation, discussion. We hear from those that have ideas, concerns, and all, and we would be able to come together and collaborate and find synergy and opportunities and growth and change that may be coming our way. And Lord, I also pray that on this night, as the election polls close, that as leaders are being elected, we know that that authority is appointed by you first and foremost, and that those leaders would lead our communities in ways that would be pleasing to you, and that we would all pray for our leaders to be able to lead in ways that would be pleasing to you. And we just once again thank you for your blessings and your grace on us. And we love you, and it's in your Son Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Please face the flag and recite the pledge, which is especially important on tonight on Election Day. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask for Ms. Kittrell to call the roll for us, please.
Vice Mayor Love.
Here.
Councilman Allison is absent. Councilman Carter.
Present.
Councilman Fan.
Here.
Councilman Fennell is absent. Councilman Hayes. And Councilman Juvance.
Present.
Mayor, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here. We do have an item to consider at the end of the meeting. It does require 5 members to be present, so I am grateful that we have 5 present. You have 2 sets of minutes for your consideration for approval this evening. The first are from October 1st, 2024, and the second are from October 15th of 2024.
So moved.
Motion to approve by Councilman Hayes, both sets. Correct? Both sets? Councilman Hayes?
Yes,
Both sets.
Second.
Okay, second by Councilman Carter. Are there any additions or corrections requested? Vice Mayor Love.
This is a little bit, I don't think that I presented the events on the second sets because you were there that night.
Okay. So. Anyone else? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes with that slight change, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Minutes are unanimously approved. We'll now go to public recognition on agenda-related items. This is the time that we have at each meeting of the council where you can comment on anything that's on the agenda. There's also a period of time at the end of the meeting where you can comment on items that aren't on the agenda. You have 5 minutes to speak. We ask that you give your name and your address for the record. I also want to tell you that there are, I think, 5 public hearings tonight, and I will run through those because if your comment is related to one of those, you may wish to speak under the public hearing instead of under the public recognition on agenda-related items. The first public hearing this evening is on Ordinance 02410-59, and it is approving a preliminary master development plan for Hunt Club retail development. The second one is the rezoning of a .26 acre parcel from CG to R6 high-density residential north of Pace Street, west of North Council. Public hearing number 3 is Ordinance 02410-61, which is rezoning a .53 acre parcel from core commercial to PGC Plan General Commercial with a preliminary master development plan for North Lake Automotive located right downtown. Public hearing number 4 on ordinance 02410-62 is rezoning 131.64 acres from A agriculture residential to R10 PRD medium density residential with the plan for Twin Ponds subdivision south of Long Hollow, west of St. Blaise. And then the final public hearing this evening is public hearing, which is item number 5 for ordinance 02410-63, which is zoning a 106.91 acres of not zoned property to R8 PRD medium density residential plan residential district and rezoning 26.65 acres from the R40 low density residential district to R8 PRD medium density residential planned residential development with a preliminary master development plan for Kirkpatrick Gallatin. So those are the public hearings this evening. So you may speak under public recognition on agenda-related items or those, but right now we have public recognition on agenda-related items open for comment. Okay.
Are these in order or just any of them?
This is just the general public hearing. I mean, this is general recognition for any item on the agenda. The public hearings I just went through, which I think I know which one you're speaking on. You can speak now or you can speak then.
Yeah, you might want to wait till number 5 comes up, Brian.
Okay, I'm going to be speaking on one of the ones that the agenda, one of the number 4 on the agenda on Twin Ponds.
Yeah.
So I've got some things to give you guys.
Say something. And we need your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Okay. My name is Brian Bondurant, and I live on North Sugar Tree, 1054 North Sugar Tree. And I just want to ask the people that are here in concerning the two ponds issue, if y'all would stand so everybody knows that we have a pretty good crowd here. Thank you. Basically, what I'm going to keep this brief tonight because I know there's another hearing in 2 weeks. So I'm not going to go through as many details as I'd planned on, but mainly because I want to have everybody get out of here in time because I'm interested in elections too. So, but yes, in Sugar Tree, yes, we are in the county, but I also have commercial real estate on West Main, 2 different properties on West Main, so I do pay my taxes. And so I feel like I have a good say. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to let you guys know what our hopes are for that development. Number one, we're not against developing because we know it's going to happen. But the thing is we want it to be controlled, and I think most of you do too. So that's not a major issue there. But what I have here basically are pictures from Google Maps. Any of us can look at that. But as you start off, the first one is just an overview picture of the Long Hollow and 386 corridor. It shows the amount of agriculture, farmland, and some developments in there. And I just kind of want you to think about that because as I looked at the Gallatin Planning District, this is the area that's going to be developed because there's not many other areas in the planning district that has space to develop. So that's I think an important point here. So this area is going to be something that's going to come back up to you guys and gals over the next 5-10 years easily. The second page is the Two Ponds view a little bit more zoomed in, and you see Sugar Tree on the left. You see the St. Blaise development below. You also see some of the other houses on St. Blaise, and then Long Hollow Pike. You know, a nice, pretty piece of farmland, but we understand, you know, it's going to develop. So the third one is a higher view of the St. Blaise subdivision. And that subdivision actually is going to be touching part of the Two Pond subdivision. And so they have a vested interest. Several of them are here in that respect. The others, what I tried to do is I tried to go and collect images of the subdivisions that are closest to this area. You know, so obviously St. Blaise is the closest because it's going to be touching. Carrollton is about a half to 3/4 of a mile further down the road from that, and it's a huge subdivision, but the very front of it is showing the houses and the density of that. Then the next one is Creekside, which is on Big Station Camp. By the crow flies, it's about a half mile, but it's a nice normal subdivision. All these subdivisions are the best I can tell from the zoning regulations are all like R15s. And then a little further outreach, because there's really not a lot, as the overview show, is the Cambridge Farms Fairway Farms subdivision. Pretty massive subdivision, but to me, it's well laid out and a nice subdivision. Then you get into the last 2 pages. Those 2 pages show the proposed density for the Two Pond subdivision, which is R10. Now, R10 allows a higher concentration. Most of the lots, in that proposal, there's 297 lots. 240 of them are proposed to be 53 feet wide, and I forgot how many feet long, but you take 53 feet and then you take 10 feet off of each side, which is the side variance. Now you have a 33-foot house in that lot. So I call those skinny houses because that's what they are. They're long and narrow, probably most of them go up 2 stories. That picture and the next picture are basically views of that. So what I want you to consider as you look back at the very first page and all that development, all that raw land, is this what you want that raw land to look like? You want all those high-density houses in there. And the reason I say that is because once you open that door to this development and allow that to happen, you can't stop the rest of it. Because once you have one that is done and you approved, then it sets a precedence. And then my understanding from watching what goes on and having friends, you know, on the planning and everything, once you open that Pandora's box, you can't stop it, or the developer can sue you to get the density that they want. So I'm asking you to look towards our future and look at what we want to happen out there in that area. The whole city of Gallatin, none of it looks like this high development. And we ask that you don't have that happen out there either. So thank you for giving me your time and attention and consideration. And we just want you to ponder that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bondurant. Is there anyone else that's wishing to speak under public recognition? A reminder again that we do have the 5 public hearings coming up.
My name is David Moore, and I live at 1045 North Sugar Tree, and I have for the last 25 years. I just want to address something that came up at the last meeting a couple of weeks ago, and that was when a representative from the developer made some comments. And one of them, I think, was somewhat misleading when he said there was going to be a 300-foot buffer zone. So I met him out in the lobby after the meeting was over, and he gave me this aerial photograph. And I asked him where the 300-foot buffer zone was, and he pointed it out to me. And I said, where? And he pointed it out again. And I said, that's my backyard. The 300-foot buffer zone is my backyard, because the buffer, I thought when he said it, it was going to be from my property line, which if it was 300 feet, no problem. I could live with that. But it's my backyard and it's my neighbor's backyards. And I just want to make sure you understand that they're counting my property in their buffer zone. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
James Mitchell, I live on 1041 North Sugar Tree Lane. This is not a ask question answer tonight, is it?
No, sir, just comment.
Will that be the 19th when we can ask questions?
If you want to ask questions, you can ask them of the, actually, I shouldn't be answering this, but you can ask them of the departments or of council members, but not in a public setting. That's what public comment is, for you to relay your comments to the council, but certainly I think everybody's available to you should you want to follow up with them individually.
Okay, well, I mean, we got the letters from Bobby Bell. If this, we could ask questions tonight. I got 2 letters on it. Is he even here, or?
Project representatives, he's in the
One
back.
of my main questions is, why does the Gallatin Council trying to turn Gallatin into a crap hole like Nashville? We're building low-income, medium-income homes. Why not high-dollar homes? I mean, like in my subdivision, a house just sold for $1 million. Okay, then you've got St. Blaise over there. We're in between. We don't want tar paper shacks in between there. We want some nice homes. I know y'all trying to draw everybody from Nashville up here for some reason, and that's just going to increase crime. And it's going to be a mess. It's going to get bad. It's going to look just like Nashville, and we need to avoid that. We really do. So that's not, so I wish y'all consider on some of that. I mean, this property at Twin Ponds, they need to be bigger homes and high-density homes, and bring rich people up here, not the poor people and not the low-income people. It's just going to raise crime. I mean, y'all ought to know that. All right, thank you.
All right. Anybody else wish to speak under public comment?
That didn't go too good.
Good evening. My name is Will Bondurant. I live at 1391 Foxland Boulevard currently. I grew up at 1054 North Sugar Tree Lane, and the main reason why I'm coming up here to speak with y'all is because I just want to urge you guys, I'm all for the city growing. That's how we get better as a city, as an area, is to grow and change with times. I just want you guys to think about how we want to go about that change. Choosing the right developers to go with, choosing the right companies to deal with is a very big decision. And as the city of Gallatin, I urge that we should choose wisely. I'm not saying that it's an unwise decision. Quite frankly, I don't have that much information on it other than they're wanting to develop to the left of our subdivision. Other than that, I want to urge you guys to, think about it, choose how we want to build up our city and make it larger, including transportation as well. But that comes as a later date. But thank you guys and have a great evening.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak under public comment on agenda or public recognition on agenda-related items? Okay, seeing no one, public recognition on agenda-related items is closed. And I will move now to mayor's comments. Actually, remember to turn my clock off, so I'm not timing myself, much to Councilman Hayes' dismay. I really don't have much this evening, but I do want to report that the state of the city was last Monday, and there were about 500 really generous people there wanting to hear about Gallatin, and it was quite a lovely event. My thanks to Northfield and the Gallatin Chamber for always creating a great venue for the annual presentation of that, and very grateful for the people who are interested in attending it. So events coming up, past election night this evening. Coming up this weekend, it's the Holiday Tinsel and Treasures Gallatin Shop Local Weekend. We kick off the holiday season here early to support our local merchants, and this year's looks really big with some new places to shop, and I would encourage you to get out and shop and support your locally owned businesses. Now on the 9th, it's our attorney Susan Hamacali's birthday. And then coming up on, Veterans Day Parade is also happening on Saturday, not on Veterans Day, but on Saturday. The American Legion has been doing this parade for as long as I can remember. Happens on Saturday. It starts about 11 a.m. from the high school football field going to the high school. And it's one of the few Veterans Day parades in Middle Tennessee, and it's a great opportunity to show your support for those who have served our country. On the 11th is actual Veterans Day. Most city offices, banks, all that kind of stuff will be closed on that day. Coming up on the 16th, and I share this, although we don't typically share a lot of business stuff, but I'll share this one. It's the Beretta one-day sale. A lot of people know that they manufacture here, and they bring a one-day sale a year to Gallatin, and we have heard this may be the last time they do it. So if you're interested in purchasing some Beretta soft goods, clothing and stuff, that will be happening at the Civic Center on the 16th, 9 to 5. Coming up on the 23rd, the Christmas Harvest Craft Show. Talk about a jam-packed event happening at the Gallatin Civic Center. Full of all kinds of things. Get your Christmas shopping done early, 23rd, 9 to 4. On the 3rd is the Gallatin Christmas tree lighting on the square. We're doing that a little bit earlier because it actually happens on the day of a meeting. So we'll be doing that at 4:30. Tuba Christmas is happening at First Baptist Church on the 5th. And I did think of one more thing I want to mention, and that was the Comic-Con that happened the weekend, not this past one, but the weekend prior, but we didn't have a meeting last week. My thanks and compliments to the Dyers and to Town Square Comics and Records, and I never get their name right, but they're on the square. They sell comic books and records, and they have sponsored the Comic-Con here in Gallatin for the last several years. And they do a tremendous setup there out at the Civic Center. They spend a whole lot of money attracting people to Gallatin. And it's funny to go over there because while I'm not necessarily nostalgia, pop culture, whatever, I saw a lot of people I knew who were that were really, really excited that Fonzie and Potsy and Ralph the Mouth and the young Forrest Gump and J.J. Walker and oh yeah, and that's who she liked, Mickey Dolan from the Monkees. I don't really remember
Well,
him.
I like David.
But yeah, it was quite the show over there, and so a lot of people came to Gallatin for that, and I am very grateful for the effort that goes into that. And I heard that they had a great experience in Gallatin, so for that I thank all the ones who extended kindness to the special guests for that weekend. I do think it was lovely.
And I wanted to say, before you go on, that I was one of those 500 people at the chamber luncheon, and that Paige did a fabulous job presenting information. And I wish that everybody could hear that presentation because she cleared up a lot of things that are not correct and gave a lot of great information. And I just commend you for doing such a thing.
I appreciate it. I tried really hard to give a balanced perspective with a lot of transparency, but also what that translates into. I definitely owe Mr. Jeff Henschel a big thank you because he puts together a lot of the multimedia, and we did it a little different this year, and we didn't know if we could pull it off, but it went well. So
Very well pulling
Wonderful.
it off. So
Huh?
kudos to you guys. So you guys did very well pulling that off.
Thank you.
I personally enjoyed being there and enjoyed the presentation. I thought it was wonderful as well.
kind of cool. All right, y'all. that, thank you, Vice Mayor Love. Thank you, Councilman Carter. Thank you, too, both of you, for being there. We will now go on to the regular agenda, which is the public hearing. We begin with the public hearing on ordinance 02410-59, and to introduce that, Councilman Hayes.
Yeah, this is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, approving a preliminary master development plan for Hunt Club retail development on 6.77 acre parcel located south of Nashville Pike and west of Hunt Club Boulevard, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is a public hearing.
Okay, this is a public hearing. If there's anyone here that wishes to speak to this, you may come forward and do so at this time. Okay, seeing no one, public hearing on ordinance 02410-59 is closed. Item number 2 is public hearing on ordinance 02410-60, and for that, Councilman Carter.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning a 0.26 plus or minus acre parcel from the CG Commercial General Zone District to the R6 High Density Residential Zone District, located north of Pace Street and west of North Council Avenue, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And I declare this public hearing open.
Public hearing, ordinance 02410-60. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, public hearing on ordinance 02410-60 is closed. We'll take a brief departure from this because I see one thing sitting on my desk I forgot to mention, and this is really nice. This is a Charter Senior Living of Gallatin, who you all know does so much. On Friday, November 8th, between 4 and 6 p.m., they are doing a baked spaghetti pickup dinner, spaghetti salad, garlic bread, and veterans eat free. So they're inviting veterans to come eat. Others, it's a $10 suggested donation. They're always doing a lot of things for the community, and I promised I would pass that on. So we will return to the regular agenda now, which would be item number 3, which is public hearing on ordinance 02410-61. Again, Councilman Carter, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning a 0.53 plus or minus parcel from the CC Core Commercial District to the PGC Plain General Commercial District with a preliminary master development plan for North Lake Automotive, located north of West Main Street and east of West Broadway, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And this public hearing is now open.
Public hearing on 02410-61. Mr. Bill McCord, you are recognized.
Evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Bill McCord. I live at 921 Belvedere Drive. I'm here to speak on item number 3, and I just want to remind the Council and the Mayor that this area is in the downtown. It's identified as core commercial now and has been for a long time. The city's comprehensive plan encourages more intense development and not things such as car lots. Now, that certainly is appropriate to have car lots, and there are lots of places in town where that type of use is appropriate, but downtown is not. Those are the non-conforming use, and they're allowed to continue to exist, but we should not be encouraging them and solidifying their standing in the downtown, but allow them to continue within the non-conforming provisions of the code and statute. So I would hope that the council will take that in consideration. Hopefully you don't believe that this type of use or other types of use are long-time established needs for the downtown area, but maybe in other areas of the city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. McCord. Good to see you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this? All right, public hearing on ordinance 02410-61 is now closed. Moving to item number 4, which is public hearing on ordinance 02410-62. Councilman Juvance is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning 134.64 plus or minus acres from the agricultural residential district to R10 PRD medium density residential plan residential development district with a preliminary master development plan for Twin Ponds subdivision located south of Longolo Park and west of St. Blaise Road, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And this is a public hearing.
Okay, public hearing on ordinance 02410-62. If you'd like to speak, you may do so at this time.
My name is John Bracking. I live at 595 St. Blaise Road. The proposed, I guess, subdivision goes behind my property, which I have no problem with that. But they also have a road that goes the full length of my property and my neighbor's property who is here too. Just wondering how they're going to handle that. St. Blaise can't handle a lot of traffic. It's not built for a lot of traffic. Plus, we're also concerned about our home values and what it's going to do to them. Is this going to be a fire lane? There's things that I've been told, but I don't know if it's true or not. But anyhow, we're concerned about what is going to happen there. We all have nice homes there, and we definitely don't need to lose value. We pay plenty of tax, and I guess that's all I've got to say about it. I wish somebody would let us know what's going on or how it's working.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak under this public hearing?
Sorry. My name's Kim Turnbull, and I live at 1046 North Sugar Tree Lane. And I want to thank the council members who have met with some of us from the community already, and we will be reaching out to those who we haven't met with yet to really be able to have a good dialogue and understand your perspective on this development and also communicate our concerns and hopefully mutually learn about it. I personally recently read the Plan Gallatin from February of 2022, and I thought it was an excellent plan. It was really well-written and thought out and had a great vision for Gallatin. And on page, I don't have my glasses on, but I think it's 38, they talked about the planned goals and objectives. And one of it is to build a prosperous economy, and the second goal was to create a sense of place. And they described that as Gallatin will protect its natural and agricultural resources by preserving the unique qualities that distinguish it from other communities. And these objectives include establishing a gateway to the city. Second one is to conserve the open space, the farmland, scenic water view sheds, sorry, I should have grabbed my glasses, and unique natural features. To encourage the preservation of historic and cultural sites, and to protect the natural environment from the impacts of growth. I think those are great goals and objectives for our community. And I have trouble seeing how this subdivision that's proposed to go in for the Twin Ponds is in line with those goals and objectives. I don't know if all of you have driven out there recently, but it's beautiful. That view coming into Gallatin from Big Station Camp along Long Hollow is just gorgeous. And with the trees turning, it's breathtaking. I personally think it's the most beautiful view of the community coming in here. There's no sign out there saying, welcome to Gallatin. There's no sign recognizing that this is our community and we're proud of it. And I think that keeping and preserving that by building adjacent similar properties to what's there would go along with the plan that was set out. And that would be 2.5 acre or larger properties, because that's what is surrounding it. You know, there are The homes on Sugar Tree are 2.5 acres or more. The homes across the street have the similar regulations, and they are city properties. And also, we have concerns not only about the size of the development, but where the water's going to go, the runoff. There is not much space that is not concrete or road. And we already have water issues out there. And when it's rained so far twice this year, a number of homes in our subdivision have already been flooded because the runoff coming from surrounding areas. So that really is a concern of ours to have that looked at. And then also the buffer zones. The buffer zone that is spoken about St. Blaise, they're very concerned about those trees that are there. We're concerned about the buffer zone between the homes on Sugar Tree, between Sugar Tree and this new development, which my neighbor mentioned briefly. But it seemed like at the first meeting, I wasn't here, but I listened online. It was discussed that, the minimum, the county minimum of 25 feet. But then I believe, Mayor, you brought up 50 feet as an option, which we thought was really encouraging and great. And then the number 30 was spoken about. I'm not really sure where that landed, but it seemed like it kind of landed back at the minimum of 25 feet. And we'd really like to know where that's going to be, what that buffer zone would be, and also what's going to be planted there, or if there's going to be a berm built to provide that buffer space. Also in the front, as you go down Long Hollow, what are we going to see? Because right now it looks like we're just going to see the side of a whole bunch of houses. And that's just going to be all roofs, and that's not at all similar to what's there. So I think there might be helpful to have more discussion about what's really going to go there and how it's going to long-term affect our community, as was mentioned before. Because I have grandkids here, and I want them to be able to enjoy the beauty that brought me here, drew me here, and not to lose that. Another concern that we do have, besides the drainage and all, is also for the quality of life for those living in that community. I think playgrounds, thinking about my grandkids, I don't see anywhere laid out green space for kids to play ball or for them to have a playground even. If you've got preschool age kids living in there, they're not going to want to have to load them in the car and drive them somewhere. They're going to want to be able to play right there. So that maybe a dog park, since there aren't much space, there isn't much space in those yards for a dog. Just some things that we'd like to be able to continue the dialogue and not maybe vote right away on having this density approved, but to really look at how much more green space around each house might be considered, because I am concerned, like Dr. Bondurant, about what we're opening the door to. Are we opening the door to apartments next along there? And it seems like there would be places that would be more walking distance to the downtown, which was what was proposed in the plan for Gallatin, rather than sprawl and have it be way out here in the country. So those are some of our thoughts, and I hope that we can continue to talk about this and come up with a plan that's really good for those who've lived here. Some of them fourth generation from our neighborhood have been here in the area, and so it would still look like Gallatin to them as well. And I think that was all of my points.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in this public hearing?
Hello, my name is Ryan Moriarty. I am located at 606 St. Blaise Road. I'm a neighbor of Mr. Burkeen. We've lived there about 12 or 13 years, and what makes Gallatin beautiful is the space in which we live, and a lot of people reference St. Blaise Road, Sugar Tree Estates, those areas like that as kind of a nice area. And we're really proud of it. We know that development is coming. The developers in this case have been out to our area all along Mr. Burkeen and all along that road in order to get a push through over St. Blaise Road. St. Blaise does not have, like Mr. Burkeen said, is not set up for that kind of traffic. And we also have another big track, which I'm right next to, that one day I would imagine may get developed as well. But the developers had gone to multiple of these areas in order to push through to St. Blaise. They're calling it a fire access, and the one thing that Mr. Burkeen did not say, that access is only 40 to 50 feet. I would imagine 30 to 50 feet. So he is literally going to have a roadway that they're calling a fire access. Per the plan that we've been shown, it does not show an actual road tying into the roadways that go into the subdivision. We don't really understand how you can have such a small access to access St. Blaise Road, a road that already cannot handle it. I don't know if you guys have been in that area, but there's pretty tight little S-turn. There's accidents there all the time. There's accidents pulling out onto Long Hollow Pike in that area. And we're just concerned about, from the St. Blaise side, the additional traffic that gets put onto us and onto Long Hollow Pike right there. And right now they're calling it a fire lane or access for emergency vehicles, but we all know that those things turn into access for everybody to come in and out of, and that's what we're concerned on. As far as the development, I feel like we all know that development is coming in our area. I do feel like it's very dense. We'd like to see that widened out a little bit, but that's for you guys to decide. But from our concern on the St. Blaise side, we're very concerned that you have a 30-foot access off of a 100-acre site with 300 homes that is going to dump out right onto our road. And even if right now they're saying that it's going to be for a fire lane, we feel like in the future it may not be. So that's our concern. I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak under this public hearing?
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Wright. I currently reside at 886 Plantation Boulevard, but I also acquired 555 St. Blaise, which is the 55 acres that touches the biggest portion of this build and also touches St. Blaise. Apologize, it's my first time being at a hearing of this nature. I guess my biggest concern is I acquired the 55 acres. If you can imagine, I acquired it for a very hefty penny in April of this year. I am about to start roughly a $5 million renovation on this property. So this is be my personal residence. The house will be over 12,000 square feet on 55 acres for me and my 2 kids and my wife. So if you put that in perspective, I'm investing in something that my kids have forever. That was my plan, an estate, right? I grew up in a small town in North Mississippi, and that's kind of the way I grew up, right? Big farmlands, love St. Blaise. It's actually a funny story. We actually tried to buy the property in 2012 and couldn't afford it when LA Green sold it. So by fate, had my real estate agent knock on the door, rang the gate. Jimmy Kahn opened the door. We literally closed on the property within 30 days, come to a handshake agreement. Real estate agent's not involved. He didn't want to see the property developed. I haven't met very many of the neighbors at all. I just fell in love with the land. It's funny. The house needs tons of work. My wife looked at the property first, and she said, I was actually in Wisconsin on a work trip, and she said, the house needs a ton of work. I want you to know that. But do not go look at it if you're not willing to buy it. As soon as you pull through the gate, you will buy it. We closed on it about 2.5 weeks later. So just a little bit of what you have there. I think Ron, I've not met everyone, but I'm good friends with Ron, and exactly what he is saying. There's another massive piece of property, 290, 300 acres, that touches St. Blaise as well. This is not setting a good precedent. If you go under those small underpass, I drive it every day, right? Through Fairview, under the underpass, and what is being built to the right of St. Blaise right now. I mean, I don't know how many of those townhomes or whatever they're actually calling them. And I've talked to Mr. Mitchell, who's actually selling the property, and I was under the impression this was going to be a different style neighborhood. Again, I am one of those people who is completely for development. I don't mind development if it's the right type of development. I also agree with the lady of runoff. Runoff has been a terrible, I have a 2-acre pond on my property. So I have major concerns. One of the main reasons I acquired the property was because of the pond as well. What happens to the pond? Currently, the pond is being fed from that 130 acres that is coming behind. The runoff hits a creek and filters through that pond over to Mr. Maddox's pond. Literally, it is a straight tributary through my pond to his that funnels to it. So those are the types of things. I don't know where you ask questions. I don't know who I talk to, but it would be really nice to know, like, the negative to my property is my house sits probably where the back of this development is going to be. I would say my house sits 250 feet, which sounds like a lot. It's not really a lot when you're talking about 55 acres and I'm sitting on the back of that property. I understand that's not your problem, but it is 100% my problem if I'm investing this much money in an existing home that's going to be hopefully my children's home. And there's 2 major fields that actually go across and touch St. Blaise that I own as well on the right-hand side. And it comes to a point where I have to decide what is the best play here, right? And it's either I bite the bullet and continue down the path I'm on, or the subdivision gets bigger. That's really the only thing you can do. So thank you, guys. I would love for someone to tell me who I can actually talk to and ask questions and look at plots and things like that of what they're actually trying to do. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in this public hearing? Okay. If you're interested in speaking, I would ask that you would come to the forward, because I'm sitting here trying to gauge if there's somebody else interested. I'm trying to keep mental notes of things I want to say when it's complete, so.
Yeah, my name's Drew Machado. I live at 1584 Long Hollow Pike. I just want you guys to think about what this gentleman just said. I wasn't going to speak, but after listening to him, that's the kind of guy we want up here to really bring value to our neighborhood and our community as Gallatin as a whole. And I'd really press you guys to start thinking about what you want Gallatin to look like. It seems like you've put a plan together, and I would really, really stress you guys to stay on that plan. Bring in a medium density community to our area, not being real responsible with the value of what Gallatin can bring. As you just heard, this area, just the raw land and the beauty of it, it brought him here. You want more people like that to be brought up here. Those kind of people bring business. They bring an economy that not a lot of people can bring. You know, and that's the kind of thing that you guys really want to think about. What do you want to attract? You want to attract this kind of community where it would bring people that would bring a serious value, or do you want to bring a community that it's just a passover, a flyover, that really, I could live there or I couldn't? You want people to bring a competition of, hey, I want to live here. I really, really want to live here. And I drove Long Hollow Pike for 8 years with my wife. And we worked really hard to build a business where I could finally buy a house. And much like this gentleman here, I drove up in the driveway, I met the brothers at the house, and I made a handshake deal with them, and bought a property that could be handed down either in an estate or sell with after we leave, my kids could benefit from it. And that's what we think about. And I would hate to see people start thinking, well, the council, you know, of Gallatin and the people that really stand as the guardians of what comes in and out of here don't really consider what the people want. And then we start to go somewhere else and build that community up, because we're going to do that. People will do that. They're leaving California. They're leaving New York. They're leaving areas that they don't want to be in. So that's what I would just challenge this council to really think about. What do you want in 15, 20 years? Value. Value is what we want. Value in the community, value in the people. It brings people closer together. So just think about that. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak? Again, if you're wanting to speak, kind of come up this way so that we're not.
Hi, I'm Bob Seaver, 1572 Long Hollow Pike. What it sounds like here is not what maybe you're hearing. It's not people that don't want the growth. We've talked about this amongst ourselves, and we talked to some of the council members. We want growth. Growth is imminent, and it is necessary. What we want the council to think about is the questions that we've now posed to you to pose to the developers. Would you help us to make that plan that we've got in Gallatin acceptable to everything? We've always talked about the win-win-win situation. This has to be that way. They can't come in here or shouldn't come in here and get everything they want. You should be able to ask them these questions. There's comments that were brought to your attention. How big should these homes be? How big should the lots be? There's people around you that's got 50 acres, 5 acres, 2.5 acres, but you're sitting 4 homes on an acre. That doesn't sound like medium density. It sounds more high density comparative to what the other land is doing right now. It is. So it's not that we don't want it. We would like to have it in, but be cognizant of the surrounding area and the needs of them and us. Bring it on, but make it reasonable for everything. So 200, 300 homes may not be the answer, but these are the questions you guys need to ask them before you sign any paper, because if you don't ask them and they don't say, this is what we're going to do, and you just carte blanche sign the agreement to go on with it, that's what they'll do. They'll never be held accountable again. So that's just my interpretation.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak? If you're interested in speaking, I'm going to ask that you come up so that we know that you're waiting to speak. Form a line. Does that help?
Thank you. My name is Betty Russell, and I live at 601 St. Blaise Road. I'm neighbors with Mr. Burkeen, and Ryan Moore is right across from me. And my main concern is the road here that's supposed to be for emergency vehicles only. I'm like him. If you're going to have a gate or something back here that only emergency vehicles can get through. They don't need to have access from back here to come down this road to get out on St. Blaise, because that's going to, like he said, it's going to open it up. St. Blaise can't do it. It's too narrow of a road. And I'm like everybody else. I'm all for growth, but I don't agree with the houses that's being built back there. It's too many houses on a little bitty acre of land. I know a lot of people that's hunting acreage to build a home. Why can't you these developers, why can't they just sell the lots? Sell them in 2 or 3 acre lots and let somebody come in and build their own home. They don't all need to look alike and be skinny houses up in the air. You can do better. Gallatin can do better, and I know you can. And I thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak under this public hearing? Okay, seeing no one, public hearing on ordinance 02410-62 is closed. I don't even remember now, but the first person that spoke, you asked a lot of questions, and then there were some others who asked questions. And I would say that a lot of those things are what are to be determined. I don't know that there are answers to those questions. I have heard, fire access lane repeatedly related to the St. Blaise extension. And remember too that there is that Bison Trail extension, but I think there's still a lot that is at play. I wanted to say the two gentlemen, they're large parcel owners. That is how land gets preserved, is people buying it and preserving it. It can't get preserved by the government denying what someone can do with their land. It's very expensive to buy a large parcel of land. I bet you anything, this property owner would sell to somebody if they wanted to just preserve the land. But when somebody wants to sell, they've got to be able to find a buyer. And the price of land is very, very expensive here because Tennessee is so highly desirable. Sir, you wanted to know about stormwater and who you would talk to look at plats. I would ask that Mr. Tuttle and Mr. Rose and the gentleman in the back raise your hands, and they will all be happy to help you, give you details. I think one of the things, too, that a lot of people don't realize is that homes built in the 70s, 80s, and 90s were built with way different, actually absent of the kind of infrastructure that we require now. And so much of that does deal with stormwater and, of course, sewer, which is different than a lot of the homes that were built years ago are. And that's part of the reason that it's so expensive to do a development. And then when we talk about large tracts of land and the price of building on them, it just accelerates the cost. And when you talk about building something anyway, I shouldn't be going into all that. I was trying to answer your questions. We'll move along now to public hearing on ordinance 02410-63. And for that, I'm going to introduce Vice Mayor Love.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin zoning 106.91 plus or minus acres, not zoned to the R8 PRD medium density residential planned residential district, and rezone 26.65 plus or minus acres from the R40 low density residential district to R8 PRD medium density residential planned residential development district with a preliminary master development plan for Kirkpatrick Gallatin, located south of Nichols Lane and west of Woods Ferry Road, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is a public hearing.
Okay, public hearing on ordinance 02410-63 is now open. I would invite you to come forward and speak on this.
Nobody.
Is he not coming forward?
Maybe last time.
Okay. All right, seeing no one, public hearing on ordinance 02410-63 is closed. That concludes our public hearings this evening. So we're going to move now to second reading on ordinance 02409-50. Vice Mayor Love is recognized.
Thank you again. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin rezoning a 3.62 plus or minus acre lot from the agricultural residential zone district to the R15 medium density residential zone district, located north of Hartsville Pike and east of Enoch Way, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. I so move.
Okay, motion by Vice Mayor Love.
Second.
Second by Councilman Hayes. Opening the floor for any discussion or questions. Anyone? Councilman Juvance.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, we're talking about, they told us what they want to put there. They want to put the triplexes, and if we authorize the rezoning, they're going to put the 4 triplexes. So I don't see that fitting where it is. I don't think it's a good idea, so we'll be voting no on it.
I'm not sure what you just said.
I say if we authorize the rezoning, they will put what they presented to us at the 4 triplex building on that property. So
I'm going to make the motion we do this later because we don't have the full council here on it.
Second.
Oh, we got one back now.
I think it's a motion to defer.
Sorry.
Oh, you withdrew your motion? Okay, motion withdrawn, second withdrawn? Okay. Councilman Carter, we're on item number 6, and Vice Mayor Love made a motion, Councilman Hayes seconded, and that's where we are.
But I'm only voting for rezoning. I'm not, I mean, we've already discussed that we're not talking about what they're putting there yet.
They're gonna go to the BZA and get it approved by the BZA. That's what's gonna happen.
All ready to vote? This is second reading on ordinance 02409-50. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, who said no? Raise your hands. Carter and Juvance against. Fan, Hayes, and Love for. It passes 3-2. Item number 7 is second reading on ordinance 02409-51. Councilman Juvance is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning a 3.69 plus or minus acre lot from the CS Commercial Services District, MU Mixed Use District, and CG Commercial General District to the CG Commercial General District, located north of Tulip Poplar Drive and west of Warwick Road, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinance, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Juvance, second by Councilman Carter. Opening the floor for any questions or discussion. Okay, seeing none, this is second reading on ordinance 02410-54. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Does pass second reading unanimously. Item 9 is second reading on ordinance 02410-55. Vice Mayor Love. I skipped 8. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Second reading on ordinance 02410-54. Councilman Juvance.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an ordinance appropriating $182,000 from Department of Justice for the Burn Discretionary Community Project Grant, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Juvance, second by Councilman Carter. Opening the floor for any discussion. Okay, second reading on ordinance 02410-54. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, number 9, second reading on ordinance 02410-55. Vice Mayor Love now.
Thank you. This is an ordinance amending Article 6, Section 2A of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee Charter as established in Chapter 67 of the Private Acts of 1953, and as amended thereafter to delete the requirement that appointed officers shall devote all of their time to their respective offices. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilman Carter. Opening the floor for comments or discussion. Mr. Juvance.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not going to change my vote. I think we should not let that go. But if that's going to pass, so it's going to go to the yield. So I expect that at the same time we send back again the impact fees. So that bring back both to the yield at the same time. I would appreciate that.
I don't know what you said, I'm sorry. Something about fees? Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to have the same outcome, but that's a different conversation. We're talking about this. Anyone else with comments or discussion? I have totally lost everything here. There we go. Anyone else? Second reading on 02410-55. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Passes 4-1. Item number 10 is second reading on ordinance 02410-56. Councilman Carter, you want to take that?
Yes, ma'am. This is an ordinance amending the municipal code, City of Gallatin, Tennessee, Part 2, Chapter 2, Article 2, Division 3, Section 2 through 154 to amend development review fees and other planning department fees, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date, and I so move.
By Councilman
Second.
Carter, second by Vice Mayor Love. Are there any questions, any discussion? Is that one to be recognized, Councilman Javance?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make an amendment because right now we're having about an increase on the sales tax. And the comment is that we need that because we need more money for services. So I think I agree with that. We need more money for services, but we should start where it starts, where the growth starts. So I would like to make an amendment on the 1507, the Master Development Plan and Rezoning. There is free final FMDP plan, PMDP, and rezoning request that we change the fee on the dwelling unit to $100 instead of $10.
Motion.
Wait, can you repeat what you just said? I'm sorry.
I would like that we charge, instead of charging $10 per dwelling unit on FMDP, PMDP, and rezoning with PMDP, that we charge $100 per dwelling unit instead of $10.
For what what now? I'm sorry. For what now?
Instead of $10 per dwelling unit, $100.
Dwelling unit, okay. Okay, we have a motion. A motion dies for lack of a second. Back to the original motion. Any other questions or comments? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 02410-56. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Does pass unanimously, second reading. Item 11 is second reading on ordinance 02410-64. Councilman Carter, happy day.
This is an ordinance appropriating $421,770 from the general fund unassigned fund balance to the Clearview Park Improvement Project, and I so move.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Javance. Any comments, discussion? Cheer? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Ordinance 02410-64 passes unanimously. Item 12, ordinance 02410-65, Councilman Hayes.
It's an ordinance appropriating $12,686.41 in Miracle League donations to Miracle Field Supplies. Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Councilman Fan. Any questions, any discussion? Okay, ordinance 02410-65. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Does pass unanimously. Item 13, first reading on ordinance 02411-67. Councilman Fan, there is an updated resolution on your desk somewhere. It was here somewhere. Councilman Fan, you're recognized.
You want me to read this one?
Nay, or if you just want to read the motion, then I'll read it. It's up to you.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Huh?
Couldn't hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said you can read, you can read the agenda item, and then I can read it if you want me to.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. This is the first reading on ordinance 02411-67, an ordinance appropriating funds for the purchase of property adjacent to Triple Creek Park. And I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Fan, second by Vice Mayor Love. Mr. Tuttle, do you want to explain, or do you want me to go ahead and read this?
You can read. I was just going to give an explanation for why
Okay.
we have a new one.
So that the sum is 2.244626. Mr. Tuttle.
Right. In talking with our city recorder, Ms. Kittrell, we got a better estimate for one of the items that we believe on rollback taxes. So it's only an increase of $276.
Slight change in amount. All right, everybody feel good about this?
Yep.
This is first reading, so it's ordinance 024. Anybody have any questions? I'm sorry. 02411-67. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Does pass first reading unanimously. And then item 14, related. Councilman Fan, Resolution R2410-82.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to negotiate the purchase of property adjacent to Triple Creek Park, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fan, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Okay, it does pass unanimously. That concludes the regular agenda. It takes us to other business. And tonight under other business, I know of 2 items, but there may be more. I'll start with the council. Anybody have anything? Councilman Carter.
Just wanted to thank everybody in the city and the council members and the mayor for your support for my trunk or treat event. We had about 567 people there. Special thanks to Chief Beeman and Mrs. Beeman. They attended the event along with members from the fire department. Chief Bandy attended, and along with members from the police department. Mr. Scott Beeman with the finance department for the city of Gallatin. And special thanks to Sheriff Eric Craddock, who was not able to attend, but did send deputies from the sheriff's department. So I appreciate you guys for your support.
Councilman Chubats.
Thank you, Mayor. So I want to come back because you said that was not the time, so now it's the time. I want to make sure that we're going to send again to the year what we voted on last year to change the charter on the impact fees. So I want to make sure that's going to go, and maybe I can get a little more support this year to make sure we can get that passed so we can actually get more money.
I'll tell you the same thing that I said last year. This is a statewide argument. It's been going on for 20 years. They've not approved any impact fees for any cities. We're trying to address it on a statewide basis, and they're not passing them. I mean, we've not seen that.
Let me say something too. If we do send people down there, because I talked to them, let's make sure we send people down there that know what's going on. Okay? That was a big problem we had last year.
I appreciate that. I did.
Well, nothing against you, but I'm just saying, let's make sure that we send people that know what we're going to use the funds for.
Yeah,
and know what we're going to do.
Like I said, I took responsibility for not spending enough time with our representative, where I should have done that better. And I said that, and I will make sure this year I do it better. And if I have to go to the Hill every week, talk to every representative back there, I will do that. But what I would appreciate is not to be just by myself. And if we stop doing things because that's for 20 years or whatever years that got refused, we were still pushing a cart with square wheels. Okay, so
my point is that it is a statewide issue. There are cities across the state in the same position that we are. Why would the legislature allow Gallatin and not allow other cities? I believe that the ask is for parity across all. And we've been working on that, but impact fees are such, at the state. And I mean, we've been navigating it for years now.
If I remember well, a while ago, you sent us a report was made about impact fees by the state. And if I remember well, too, that was saying that impact fees are little to none effect on housing price. And that was the main concept, that if we had impact fees, that would get the price go up. So I read that report. That's black and white. But again,
I don't know what you're saying.
6 months ago or 8 months ago, you sent us all a report. A study was made by the state about that. And in that report, it said that impact fees at little to no effect to housing pricing.
Right.
So, and the main concern was that would drive up the housing prices. So now we have staff, we can go back again, like I said.
But do you understand that the TASER study is requested by the legislature to help them examine the issue? And that, again, it affects cities all across the state. And I don't think that a single city is going to get permission that no other city has gotten. I think the better fight is to be able to have parity across all cities. So, I mean, I'm on TASER. That's a big part of, getting a perspective out there. Oh, my goodness.
And I don't mind, again, like I said, sending it to them, and I don't mind getting involved this time. I just want to make sure that we go down there and we know what we're doing, because we don't need to tell them the situation like we did last year. What's it going to be used for? Is it going to be used for schools? And somebody answers yes, and we don't have anything to do with schools. We just need to have a better understanding, and I don't mind talking to our legislatures. I don't mind doing that. I had no idea that anybody was going down there doing that, whatever.
Well, I did talk to our legislators, and he told me that he was going to represent it in committee, and things did not go as I thought they had been prepared
No,
to
they didn't.
go,
I know,
so.
it kind of was not, no, it didn't. So
I know.
if we want to send it again.
So anyway, it's up to
Just
this
let us
body
know.
as to what they want to do. I don't think that we should, discuss it tonight without everybody here, because
Correct, because there's some other stuff I want to send down there too, so let's just wait till our next committee meeting or something like that, and we'll talk about it then. I don't mind sending it again, but there's some other stuff I want to bring up too.
All right, so if we could put it on the next committee meeting so we can discuss it, I made a motion for that.
I'm all for it, we just got to do it in the right way. We've got to know what we're doing. Okay.
if you want something added to the committee meeting agenda, I'll stick to voting on it, because I can't just.
I make a motion to add discussion on the next committee meeting.
Fees. Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second. All right, we have a motion, a second. All in favor of putting it on the next work session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, raise your hand if you're an aye, please.
4 ayes and 1 no.
You and I? You and I? Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1, we will put on the next work session. All righty.
I got another thing I'd like to put on there too, I guess, since we're going to be talking about sending stuff to the legislature. And that is, I'd like for us to discuss, we brought this up before I have, is talking about going to a government with a city administrator.
It's already on the next work session.
It is?
Per my direction.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
we've been doing research on it and have.
Yeah, well, I know we have.
But, I want, before we go down that road, I just want to remind everyone, it's going to involve, and I know you've always been supportive of it, but it's going to involve council giving up certain powers for it to work. So I think it's well worth considering, but you have to understand that there are some things that council can't do that's always done for it to be able to work. So I know that you're supportive of that issue, but we'll discuss it in more detail, and I do have some city managers who are willing to come speak to it. All right.
What's going on out there?
I don't know. Not the end of the world?
Right.
All right. Any other business from this body? Yeah, we were going to try and make this succinct this evening because election results are coming in. Ms. Bates, you are recognized.
You had approved an extension of the 6-month milestone for the Project Phoenix MOU sections, and that extension expires on November 8th, so this is the opportunity to tell you. I did put a letter on your desk. The section that was due for completion by November 8th, one was the inspection period. All that work has been completed, and because of that, as you can read in the letter from Boyle, the developer, they have decided to continue to move forward into the next phase, milestone phase, which I'll come back to. The second part of what was due to you by November the 8th, which is also addressed in their letter, is a written indication of the interest by a major hotel chain acceptable to all parties that the hotel is feasible and will be comparable in design and style, quality services and amenities to at least a Hilton, Marriott, or other branded hotel reasonably approved by governmental parties. And they do have paragraph 2 of their letter does tell you that they indeed do have multiple parties interested that meet that criteria. So it is advised by our city attorney that you do a simple voice vote. It doesn't require a resolution or any ordinance of that type to confirm that this is still your intent. What will happen is that Boyle will now move into the design phase of the project, and that will take several months, and it will come back to you, and there will be some involvement in that process by stakeholders and the city officials.
So I would ask for a motion to indicate that you're supportive of continuing to move forward in this
Motion to-
exploration process.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of moving forward, please say aye, or what's the better terminology? Yeah. All in favor, all indicating support of continuing the exploration process, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you. Ms. Bates, anything else you needed?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. DePriest.
Thank you, Mayor. On your desk, I laid a resolution. I was made aware yesterday of a grant opportunity that's the deadline to apply is Friday of this week. What it is, it's some funds. There's no cost to the city at all. It's called a recycling roundup for hard to recycle items. The Tennessee Environmental Council has these funds that they've been given from the United States EPA, and they're going to select 15 different cities throughout the state of Tennessee to host one of these events. So the resolution is just getting your approval to apply for this. It's not guaranteed that we get the funds, but like I said, the deadline is Friday.
And because this was not presented at a work session, we have to get a vote that you want to add this to the agenda for it to be considered.
I move that we add it to the agenda.
Motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilman Carter. All in favor of going ahead and considering it, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, so now we will entertain a motion.
Motion, send it on?
Well,
To send it on.
motion to apply.
Motion to apply, yes.
Second.
Motion to apply by Councilman Carter, second by Vice Mayor Love. Any discussion, questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. DePriest, for boogieing on this and making it an opportunity for us. All right, so anyone else with other business? I forgot Ms. Schedule, thank you.
Yes, Mayor, this is just a certificate of compliance for a retail liquor store. They have received its Station Camp Wine and Liquor located at 384 Big Station Camp Boulevard. The new owners have applied. They have met with the ABC. The ABC has requested that they add one of the investors as an indirect owner for the compliance thing from the city. And Mr. Nihal Patel is here tonight. And if you have any questions, he's just requesting to add, and basically it's his dad as an investor, but the ABC has requested that he be listed also as an indirect owner. He's just here if you have any questions.
Any
If you don't,
questions?
it's fine.
Motion? Motion by Councilman Carter,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Love. Discussions, question? Okay, all in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved, sir. Thank you for doing business in Gallatin.
Ms. Conley, do I come meet you tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, y'all are the only ones speaking for certain. Okay, so that takes us through other business, and now we're going to go to public recognition on non-agenda related items. If you have something to speak to that's not on this evening's agenda, now's your time. You have 5 minutes. We need your name, we need your address for the record, but you may come forward at this time if you'd like to speak.
Good evening to the City Council. Albert Michael Clark, 923 South Westland Avenue, apartment D05. And every time someone come up here and make certain statements, I'm not gonna jump up here each and every time. Come January, I've been here 45 years, moved here 15 years old, 11th grade, now I'm 60 years old. When I went to Gallatin High School, I guess I was one of those kind of people that moved here. I wasn't aware with the students, my fellow students, that there was only a certain kind of people that lived in Gallatin, Tennessee. I'm not angry tonight, I'm somewhat sickened. It's been known that I've been coming up here for over 20 years, now going 25 years. And as we progress along, I'm hearing things that I have not heard in the past from our citizens. I've had the privilege of doing 25 years of prison and jail ministry out in Oney, Tennessee, Chaplain Attorney Center, Simpson County Jail, Warren County Jail in Kentucky, Woodland Hills Youth Correctional Facility, Riverfront, done evangelism out there, laid on the sidewalks with drug addicts, prostitutes. Some of them were wealthy people. Some of them lived in fine homes. I think the officer that is back there can attest. A year ago, a stranger had fallen out on the ground, prayed with him, went with him by ambulance here to the hospital, took him home in a community, a house in Hendersonville, and it was a very, very expensive home, not knowing where he lived at because he was drunkard. Took another man less than a year ago back to Hendersonville to his very fine 3-car garage home. And his wife was wondering what took him so long to get home, and that's because he got arrested for drunken driving. I did not know that they did not live in an apartment, but lived in a fine home. Leased a home 2005 on Lock 4 Road. And the one time since I've been living here for all these years, our cars was vandalized, was on Lock 4 Road. There was several neighbors and stuff. We believed it was teenagers. Just last week, stopped a fight between 2 boys. One of them looked at me and called me the N-word. And I smiled to the point that he got scared and walked away because he seemed like he thought I might have been crazy. But none of us by outward appearance. Matter of fact, let me remind you of this. You can be a felon and still run for the United States presidency and still not be one of those people. Just want to remind us to continuously walk in love. I'm a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and I am a defender of not only the poor, but the rich also. God bless this wonderful council and all the different departments that has always been represented here. And let us please do better in our community. There's a reason why people want to come here. And if I'm not mistaken, it started before the pandemic, that people was rushing to get into gracious growing Gallatin, Tennessee, because we do have something to offer. Take care.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak under public comment on non-agenda related items? Okay. Public recognition on non-agenda related items is closed. That concludes the meeting, short of adjournment. I do appreciate the comments. I've asked before that we not speak disparagingly about how people live. Some people are really proud of their homes, whether they are high value or low value, and some people are doing the best that they can. And people live in all kinds of homes in our city, and they are essential to the running of our city. And I think that we need to be kind and respectful and understanding of that, because it has to be hurtful to hear some of these things. I mean, I took offense. I live in a wood-sided house in the neighborhood a couple of streets down. But, oh, yeah, Councilman Hayes is ready to go. I know, I am too. But yeah, let's be kinder to one another. It is election evening. People on one side are going to lose tonight. Life's too short, and there's too much good in our lives to be horrible and hateful to one another. So I hope that you'll go out and do something nice for somebody, find common ground. We all have common ground, no matter how vehemently we may disagree on other topics. Just love your neighbors and do good. Have a good rest of the week. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Councilman Carter, Vice Mayor Love, all in favor say aye. Ladies and gentlemen, take care. God bless. Have a good night.